Prop Theaters, The Cleanup is currently at the Athenaeum Center on Southport through November 19th. Right on the poster, it lets us know it's a not for kids comedy about parenting. Writer Hallie Palladino here to chat all about it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me, Rudy. I'm delighted to be here.
So a lot of times parents of toddlers, when they have their date night, when they have their nights they go out, they might go to a movie or a theater, but oftentimes themes of what's going on in their lives are not reflected on the screen or on the stage. And this is something that is definitely doing that. Talk a little bit about the inspiration.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think that as a dramatist, I've always been, really interested in the way that mothers in particular and parents in general are portrayed in drama. And I really wanted to write a show that is about my own community, which is about Chicago parents, and in particular, the ways in which the pandemic kind of put added pressures on the sort of already challenges of childcare, especially during those early years. So I've written about people who are, like this is a show written, directed, produced by Chicago parents with Chicago parents among the cast and design team. So we're really sort of speaking about the way that our own communities have been impacted by the pandemic, but also the larger issues of like raising kids and how that changes like the ability to sort of form friendships and relationships.
People weren't really socializing, and I think everyone's kind of taken a different approach to parenting, and people want to see what this new version of it looks like on stage.
Oh, absolutely. And so my play is set behind the scenes at a nursery school co-op. It's about parents sanitizing toys after hours. And so I actually did serve on the toy cleaning committee at my son's neighborhood nursery school co-op when he was a toddler. It was not steamy or soapy. It was pretty, except for the soap we used to clean the toys. My play is a lot steamier and sexier than in real life, but it still was a place where parents felt they could go to socialize and try and build those new friends and make those new bonds.
And not just socialize and find a sense of community, but let's talk a little bit about the character of Nicole, because she goes in there with pure intentions of just looking to volunteer.
Exactly. She's going in there to volunteer. She picks the easiest job, which is toy cleaning, because you don't have to fundraise, which is actually how it was billed to me when I joined the toy cleaning committee at my kids' school. And then but she's also has been cooped up for 17 months in quarantine with an estranged spouse that she's not speaking to, and these two little kids. And so she meets Logan, who's this sort of practically divorced, like very, very like super dad, swoon worthy guy, and starts wanting to flirt with him. So in order to continue flirting with him, she starts volunteering all the time at the school. And then Julie and Ryan, the founders of the school, mistake her enthusiasm for hanging out at the school all the time for a love of their mission, and start trying to and they rope her into planning the big benefit gala.
Especially too, if you watch any of the Real Housewives franchises, you think like all the gossiping and all the conversations happen, in those kind of, realms, but it actually starts like in the preschool, especially if, the parents are there, who's spending so much time here, who's hanging out with who, like this is kind of where everything kind of starts.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of drama, and it's a lot of friendship drama. And so the characters of Ryan, Julie, and Logan in my play have been in a pod together. And so, of course, the play also deals with themes of COVID breakups, because so many families went through COVID breakups and sort of repartnering during COVID. And so the play kind of talks a little bit about that. And their sort of friendship group has been completely blown apart after 17 months of togetherness, because the play is set in the fall of 2021 and it ends in the spring of 2022. So it's actually set just a few months ago. And it's set in a very recent history at the moment that we're living right now in the middle of the pandemic. So yeah, and it is, but I do believe that like friendship drama is real at every age, right? And so this play, I think the fun of it and the entertainment value is watching people sort of navigate the intensity of those friendships.
I want to go back and talk a little bit about Logan, where you see this like perfect, exaggerated perfect person of like, oh my goodness, I want to get to know this person a little bit more. So you spend a little bit more time. You end up hanging out a little bit longer. You end up, extending your stay a little bit more. But kind of talk a little bit about creating that character.
Yeah, so for me, the play is really important to that Logan is, sort of this endlessly charming, really appealing, sort of like disarmingly approachable guy. But another thing is that, like, yeah, he's sort of this millennial, like sort of archetype of a millennial dad, super involved, knows all about the stroller. In fact, there's like a neat, cute moment in the play that involves stroller repair, and he like flexes his stroller repair knowledge. And so that sort of, I had a lot of fun kind of showing off the ways in which dads of our generation are really involved with their kids, but also, things may not be what they seem, not to give any spoilers away about the play, but sometimes sometimes people can be a great dad, but maybe not a great, like everything else. So it's all about sort of showcasing the ways in which we perform parenthood, and the sort of this idea of performing parenthood is a big theme of the play.
And speaking of parenthood, you're going to have a couple of discussions as far as what parenthood looks like now, and you're inviting the community out there as far as those discussions. Talk a little bit about creating those discussions as part of seeing the show.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to, this is our first live show at Prop Theater since 2019, since before the pandemic. We've been doing solely digital content. So I wanted to create a community conversation series. There's going to be a 3-part series of post-show conversations. The first one is this Sunday with Lauren Grossman, who is a friend of mine and the executive director of Across the Table. And Across the Table is all about bringing together community stakeholders to talk about issues that impact them. So her talk is going to be it's going to be a guided discussion about finding our footing in a mid-pandemic moment. How can we apply the lessons of the pandemic to build stronger communities and to sort of rebuild? The second conversation we're having is going to be about parent, artists, and equity in theater. And it's a conversation where we're bringing arts leaders from Court Theater, the Goodman Theater, Teatro Vista, and Prop Theater and Broken Nose Theater together to have a conversation about how we can all, no matter what your budget is as an institution, how we can be more equitable employers of parents and caregivers. And then the third one is about queer fatherhood, which is really close to my heart. The character of Ryan in my play, played by the incomparable Brandon Rivera, who's just one of I think, the best comic actors in town. He's just a genius of deadpan delivery. It's just been such a joy to write for him. Plays a character, a queer dad, a married father of 3 character, who's sort of struggling with sort of underemployment as he sort of tries to figure out like the sweet spot of childcare and work, his character in the play. And a little bit inspired by my dear friends, Ed and Rufus, who we have been raising our kids in community together since they were little. And so Rufus is going to come out and lead a conversation in partnership with Queer Dads of Greater Chicago. And we're going to also have a dad's night out drinks mixer and really highlight and celebrate the contributions of queer dads in our parenting communities, because so often they're doing a lot of the volunteer work and they're really showing up in a big way. And I really wanted to sort of go beyond representation and really celebrate those dads in particular. And so especially because Ryan plays such an important role in the play, as you'll see.
As far as bringing your baby to the theater, I mean, this is something unique that I've never heard of as far as a sitter service, as far as you being able to go see the show while having that at the same time.
Yeah, so I've been really involved with the Parent Artist Advocacy League of Chicago chapter, and that's something that we're really working on, is providing childcare matinees at shows. I've done this before. It's readings. I've done it before at Prov Theater in the past with my previous show. They were very welcoming to let people bring kids. In fact, sometimes actors even have childcare conflict and they need to bring their kids. So yes, we have 3 childcare matinees for different ages. So one is going to be like a Halloween craft, sugar-free. It's just crafting. So it'll be on the day before Halloween. And then we have one that's a bring your baby on the lap. It's really important to me that one time when I had a very young child, there was a movie theater that offered like a matinee for moms with babies, and a big group of us moms went to it, and they kept the lights sort of dim, and they kept the sound a little bit like quieter, and it was awesome. And I got to see like a grown-up movie. So we're gonna take that and just roll with it. And we also have toddler childcare on site with Joby, which is a wonderful partner for us. They provide professional childcare. They've got like 2 or 3 nannies coming to wrangle the toddlers, and the giant box of games and toys that are all age appropriate. And then the final thing is for big kids, more my kids' age now, is American Eagle Productions, a wonderful after-school theater program that my daughter's been a part of for years. And they're bringing teaching artists to do like improv games with the kids. So maybe we'll even turn people's kids on to theater while the parents are enjoying the show, and we'll have a new generation of theater enthusiasts.